Hey, listeners, welcome back to another out of world news story with Alice channel. Cheaters are everywhere. And since we live in a world where everyone is married and divorced, it's not just singles or widows who need to figure out how to spot a cheater. It's all couples who have committed to another person. Why do so many marriages fail? I think you can get some idea from this story. Today's story was published by Beer Maker and is about how Spin found out that his wife has been having an affair for over 24 years and playing him for a fool. Even he is not the father of their child. Okay, let's go to the story and see what happened there. You could say I was dumb and happy. I was dumb because I thought I was in a solid marriage. I was wrong. She's a lying, cheating slut. I'm John T. Miller. My friends call me JD. My wife, Dawn. I work out 5 days a week at the gym. I'm 6 feet 3 inches and weighs 192 pounds. 8 years ago, I left corporate America to start my own company, which is doing very well. Dawn works for a top 50 corporation. She's been with them for 24 years. She started in the IT department as an analyst a month after her wedding. A little over 5 years ago, she moved into a position as an instructor in the education division. The company requires her to attend at least 20 days of education a year to stay current with changing technology. At 46, Dawn is a knockout. She is 5 feet 8 inches and weighs 118 pounds. And she does not look like a woman who's had 2 children. She's a runner and meets 6 other women on our block each morning at 6 o'clock to run 6 miles. Our daughter Emily is 22. She graduated from Florida State and she's a first-grade teacher in Naples. Like her mother, Emily is a runner. She started running with her mom's group at the age of 14. I'm proud to say she likes the beer I make. She found a beer club in Naples and joined. When able, I attend with her. Our son Kent is a 21-year-old senior at the University of Florida. He is a good student, looking forward to joining my business. I've told him he needs to work in corporate America for at least 5 years before I'll hire him. I believe he needs real-world experience. Dawn does not like beer and cannot stand the smell in our house when I boil a batch. I always schedule boiling a new batch of beer when Dawn travels. She is in Dallas this week and I'm making an English brown ale. I thought life could not get any better. Little did I know it was getting ready to change. Bobby, one of my beer club members, called and asked if I would pick him up at the airport last Wednesday night at 8:30. Of course, I said yes. As I walked into the baggage claim area, I saw 3 of Dawn's fellow instructors exiting. I wondered why Dawn wasn't with them, so I pulled out my cell phone, called her office phone. Normally, I call her cell phone. I can't remember the last time I called her office. Her message said, "Hi, you've reached the voicemail of Dawn Miller. I will be out of the office in Dallas teaching a class until Wednesday and will be on vacation Thursday and Friday. Please leave a message at the tone and I will return your call on Monday." About this time I saw Bobby coming my way, so I walked over to join him. I told Bobby what I knew and how confused I was. Bobby suggested I call Steve, who is another member of our beer club, to get his opinion. Steve is a detective with our local police department. Before I called Steve, I decided to call Dawn. After she said hello, doing my best to sound normal, I replied, "Just wanted to call and hear your voice. I can't wait to hold you in my arms. I'm scheduled on the earliest flight out on Friday and can't wait to sleep in your arms." "Dawn, do you have to stay and pack?" "Yes, I have to stay and do my part. It wouldn't be fair to them. I love you and we'll see you Friday." This is the first time I'd ever known Dawn to lie to me. I knew it was late, but I called Steve anyway. We talked about our next beer meeting for a few minutes. "Steve, I think Dawn is cheating on me and I need some guidance." Steve responded, "I'm sorry to hear this, and I will help any way I can. First, tell me what makes you believe Dawn is cheating on you." I said. Bobby asked me to pick him up at the airport and I saw 3 of Dawn's coworkers existing with their luggage. They were with Dawn in Dallas this week. Her office voicemail stated she was in Dallas through Wednesday and on vacation till Monday. Before I called you, I talked to Dawn and she acted like she was still teaching a class until Friday. Steve listened to me without interruption and then asked, "How often did Dawn travel?" "About twice a quarter." "Did she travel with the same group each trip?" "No." "Did each class last 5 days?" "Yes." Has she always left on Saturday and returned Friday night? As far back as I could remember. She leaves on Saturday morning and returns on Friday night. What does she do when she gets home? She is tired when she gets home, takes a long bath and goes to bed. First thing in the morning, she washes her clothes. We go out to dinner and come home for some welcome home sex. Steve agreed something was going on and advised me to call Frank Jones, the pie he knew, and discuss it with him. I thanked Steve for his insight and said I'd call Frank in the morning. The next morning I received a call from Frank Jones. Turns out Steve called Frank and asked him to give me a call. I told Frank the same story I told Steve. Then answered his question. Frank paused, then asked, "You've been happily married for over 24 years. Do you really want to know what's going on?" "Yes." "Why are you asking?" "It's been my experience in cases like this that most end in divorce. The questions you have to answer are: how much do you want to know? How far back you want us to go? How much are you willing to spend? Will you be able to handle what we find out?" I was not prepared for this. I sat there in silence and then said, "Frank, I want to know everything. When, where, with whom, as far back as you can go. I will spend whatever it takes to find out the truth. If I've been shit on, I want to know how deep." Update: we decided that Frank would contact a fellow pie in Dallas. He knew to check on Dawn. He would have someone on his staff check on the training class schedules. They would also contact the 3 instructors I saw leaving the airport. In the meantime, I was to search the house for anything unusual. I wasn't sure what to look for or where to start. I ruled out the living room, the dining room, kitchen, Emily's room, and Kent's room for the time being. I decided to start with Dawn's dresser. Everything I saw in her dresser I've seen before. After opening the door to her closet and seeing so many boxes, I decided to check the bathroom instead. Her side of the bathroom did not hold any secrets. I went back to her closet and started searching, starting with her hanging clothes and working my way through each shoebox. I could not find anything out of place or raised a question in my mind. After searching the master bedroom, the guest bedroom, the den garage and attic, I still did not know any more than when I started. Frank arrived around 5 p.m. He installed cameras in all bedrooms, the den kitchen, as well as a recorder for her phone. We went to the airport, found Dawn's car and placed a GPS system in the trunk and a voice-activated recorder under the front seat. Back at the house, Frank and I had one of my pale ales while he brought me up to date. Dawn's class schedule varies per location, ranging from 3 to 5 days. The class in Dallas was scheduled for 3 days, Monday through Wednesday. Tom, Paul, and Bev flew out on Sunday afternoon, returning on Wednesday night. Classroom material is shipped to the class location a week before the scheduled class. Instructors do not set up nor take down. Each location has staff to handle setup and tear down. Sitting there taking time to regain control of my anger, I thought of my father. JT, you must stay in control of your anger. You can think clearly when anger is in control. Storming up to the kitchen, I growled. Damn it, that bitch has been blowing smoke up my. She will pay. Did you find anything during your search? No, Frank. I hadn't found anything out of place. The only red flag we could see is Dawn's need to wash her clothes. After some discussion, we decide Frank will intercept her bag at the airport, and I will research how to disable the washer so it won't work immediately. Before Frank left, he told me his Dallas contact is on site at Dawn's hotel, and he'll talk to his contact in the morning and then call me. Frank left. I couldn't bring myself to sleep in the master bedroom. I slept in Kent's bed. Needless to say, I slept very little to keep up my routine and get my mind off things. I went into the office. Frank called about noon, and we agreed to meet at my house that afternoon. Frank arrived at 2 with an armful of files. The Dallas contact emailed his report with pictures attached. Frank pulled out a picture of 6 people sitting around a restaurant table. There were 3 women and 3 men sitting in couples. Frank asked, "Do you recognize any of these people?" I looked at the picture for a while before saying, "The only person I recognize is Dawn." He then handed me a picture of each person for a better look. Once again, I studied their faces several minutes without speaking. I handed Frank one of the pictures and said, "I think I've seen this person before, but I don't know where." Frank said while they were eating, video cameras were installed on each floor of the hotel, facing down the hallway of each floor. The next series of pictures showed them leaving the restaurant, entering the elevator, and all six getting off on the 7th floor. The women entered room 707 and the men entered room 709. Pictures from 10:15 a.m. Friday morning showed two of the women exiting room 707. There were pictures of two men exiting room 709 Friday morning at 10:29. The next batch of pictures showed them exiting the elevator, walking through the lobby, then out the front door. These pictures gave me the impression this was a group of friends or business associates, not lovers. Frank told me they went down the street to a restaurant for lunch. Each paid for their meal and returned to the hotel. There was a batch of pictures showing them exiting their hotel rooms, carrying their luggage to the elevator. Each approached the front desk and checked out. Frank turned to face me with a serious look on his face and asked, "JD, I'm going to ask you once again. Are you sure you want to know everything?" Without blinking, I said, "Yes." Frank paused, still looking me in the eye, then proceeded. Another file was handed to me as Frank gave me a narrative of what I was observing without going into the whole conversation. I found out that Dallas agents went into rooms 707 and 709 with the cleaning crew videoing both rooms. Turns out 707 and 709 are connecting rooms with a connecting inside door between them. They took the sheets off of the beds, sent them to a lab for DNA analysis, bagged their used glasses for fingerprints, and went through the trash. The Dallas Pie said the rooms reeked of sex and all 4 beds had been used with stains all over them until the lab results came in. We wouldn't know if Dawn had participated in or just watched bullshit. We both know she was in that room getting dumped. Looks like a woman I married. She is a lying, cheating slut. What do we do now? She is due to back tonight. First, let's go disable the washing machine. We pulled it away from the wall and cut one of the wires going to the motor. I think Frank wanted to do this first, just to give me a simple task to do, giving me time to get control.